Hello guys, today I got a package at the postnet and yeah, I'm gonna unbox it and find out what it is. I got my handy dandy Leatherman over here. It's gonna help me unbox it. I'm just gonna make a solid cut. Good enough. Close up this Leatherman and leave it in. So what I've been told is this is a khukuri. Now we're gonna find out if it's an Indian khukuri, a Nepalese khukuri, or anything else. Let's see. How many layers is this thing? Ah. Are you serious? I went through this to get to this. Ah. This is not a game of pass the parcel. Here it is. So we've got ourselves, look at it. Okay, so guys, looks like a Nepalese khukuri. It doesn't have a lion head. Instead, it has a beat down plate. But wow, look at the engravings on this thing. Look at all these engravings. Imagine how much time must have been spent just, wow, just doing this. It says Gurkha Army on this, but I highly doubt this was from the army. Look at a shot of the Gurkha Army part. It says Gurkha Army, but I don't think it's from the Gurkha Army. Gurkha Army. This is a fine work of art, but for a weapon, I wouldn't rate it very good because you wouldn't want your precious engravings to, like break and other stuff. But for an ornament, I'd say 10 out of 10. That's my unboxing review. Thank you.
Let's look at the
And this is the And that's the end of the review. Thank you.
Okay, so Nirvan identified his first khukuri purchase And then I purchased this thing from someone in South Africa, but I think it's just based on the overall design of it. This thing is not made in subcontinent. I think it's made in Nepal, and there's certain reasons for that. First of all, there's no lion head pommel at the end there, which is normally a dead giveaway. Well, let's go through a couple of things here. It's got a very beautiful curved brass, inlaid buttons that have been put on the scabbard of this thing. Scabbard is made of wood, overlaid by probably buffalo hide, but it's got a lot of brass fittings and a lot of brass work on the side. It's got engravings, beautiful engravings of peacocks and suns, and I think this is a Ganesha down here. It's got a lot of engravings on the shape down here too. And then the brass engravings follow the inlay of on the handle. So initially when I saw this thing and I purchased it, I thought it was just a normal tourist piece. But now as I'm looking at it, it probably is still a tourist piece, but I think it's a very well made tourist piece. So let's go through it. Let's have a look. So I think if you just take a look at it in face value, it's got a lot of engraving work on it. Now they've put a lot of designs and patterns and whatever, but I think it's on the flip side where you'll see they've actually managed to put a full-scale dragon on the flip side of it. If you look there, there's a full dragon there. And there's the head there and goes into the tail piece there. So they've done a lot of work on this thing. But the thing is, normally with the tourist kukris made in India, they do similar designs, but then they chrome it. I don't think this is chrome because it's got brass inlay here. It's got a couple of rusty bits and whatever. So I think this is just highly polished carbon steel, and it's not I haven't sharpened it or anything, but it's still pretty sharp on it. What I've seen though is that down here, I don't know if you can pick that up, it's got the year 2024 there. We've done some research on the Nepalese cultural calendar. I think that equates to 1967. And then it's got Gorkha Army engraved in here, but I think that's an afterthought engraving. It looks like this engraving was done, but that was put on there afterwards just to probably get more authenticity in the tourist market for it. But that being said, I mean, it's got a pretty nice weight to it. It's got a pretty nice balance. It actually looks, if you look at the blade actually has a more Mark 4-ish BSI, Mark 5 BSI shape to it. If you just look at it, it's got that shape to it. And it's riveted. So it's probably after World War II, 1967, it makes sense. In the 1960s, 1970s maybe. So it's riveted, and it's actually a full tang. It's full tang. I think someone's tried to repair that, and it doesn't have classic distal taper, but and I'll measure it now. But I think it distally tapers. It's got maybe a 10 mil blade width here, keeping to 10 mil here, but as it goes through here, it's about 7 mil here, and it tapers towards its thing. So let's go and do some measurements quickly on this thing. Let's get our scale to equalize there. I think if I'm not mistaken, this thing is about 550 grams. It's about 548 grams in weight, if I'm not mistaken. And then with the scabbard itself, it should be about 750 grams, around about there. So it's not a very bulky or heavy thing. And then just the weight measurements, not the weight measurements, the blade measurements. If you look at the blade comes in at around 26 centimeters, and I think that roughly equates to about 10.5 inches. The entire thing comes in at about 38 somewhat centimeters. That comes in at about 15.5 inches. And the handle itself is about maybe 12.5 centimeters, approximately 5 inch handle. So I mean it falls into, I mean 10.5 inches is generally what you would look at the Mark V. That's about 10.5 inches. I think, I don't know, look, it looks pretty old because if you look, I mean it's been taken good care of. And the rosewood is in good condition, hasn't cracked or anything there. But if you look at the scabbard, man, you know, that's where you actually find the age, because the scabbard, you know, you can't overnight age something like that. And it's got no chakmak or karda in it, because the leather, I think, is so hard. I don't even think you'll be able to get anything in there. So I mean, it's got more or less, and I can believe this thing is about 50 plus years old. Yeah, so Nirvan, I think for your first purchase, boy, I think this is not a bad thing. Well done.